Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都还难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, and joining me today, Georgia Masud. Hello, Georgia.
Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing good.
Yes, I share that hope. Always hoping you have a good mood, have a nice day, especially when you're listening to Takeaway Chinese. We love the chill and happy and relaxing moments in life. But that's not all life is about. Life is about different kinds of experiences. And I was wondering for Georgia, what is the most stressful thing that you have to do till now in your life?
Until now in my life, I still dream about it at night. I think that if I would think about it in 30 years, it would be a very simple thing. But I had this exam in university that for some reason, the professor hated everyone, and I was both afraid of the professor and the exam.
Oh.
So I was doing the exam, and the professor would go around the tables, look at your paper, and say, "Oh, you're so stupid! You don't know anything. You're not going to pass your exam." So I was doing the exam, trying to hide my answers, and I think that's it until now because I had to redo it a couple of times. And it's one of the most stressful experiences I had to do, and I'm so happy it's over.
Oh, that sounds horrible. I mean, why would the professor do that? I do not understand, but I can get your feeling because sometimes in life when we look back, we feel that all of the major horrible situations that we had to encounter was not actually that difficult from today's perspective. It's like when you're 6 and you dropped a lollipop onto the ground. It was your favorite lollipop and you feel devastated. And then when you're 13, you didn't bring homework to school and you were like, that's the end of my life. I cannot believe I've just embarrassed myself in front of everybody in the classroom. I cannot do this anymore. I need to quit school and just that's it for my life. You feel like that. But now if you look back, these are all just funny moments and anecdotes in life. Yet, one thing that people would always see as something very important, like milestones in their life, would be the moment they started college, the moment they had their first job, the moment that they start a family. These are the real milestones. And some of the milestones happen easy peasy for some people. Some could take a little bit of strength and wisdom, but these are all very memorable moments. And especially for Chinese students, definitely if you ask them, they would remember the time for their college entrance examination and the whole process of finding out the right major, the right university, and get enrolled and all that. Altogether, that package is something very valuable for especially Chinese students here.
I think I would say not the same, but very similar in Europe and especially in Italy. In the moment where you leave high school, you have to take an exam. And it's a moment filled with so many emotions. So it's both stressing, it's a very important moment of your life because it's opening the world to your adult life and university. It will settle the basis for your adult life. And I know that a lot of people still dream about it because even if they're 50s, because it was such a stressful moment.
Yes, it's a very intense period in life. And today, actually, we are talking about one link, one element or segment in this whole process that is applying for a major in a certain university. We call it 志愿填报.
志愿填报.
Yes, actually, 志愿 means the kind of will or aspiration you would have for certain things. And here in this specific situation, it actually talks about the precise major of the precise school that you would like to apply for. And 填 is to fill in the blanks. 报 is to sign up for something. So 志愿填报 basically is applying for the major of the university that you would like to go to. So that is the theme of today's Takeaway Chinese. If you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, and this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway.
高考终于结束了，你打算在大学选择哪个专业呢？
今年有好多新专业可以填报呢，我觉得中国古典学比较有意思。
那真不错，我对自动驾驶技术很感兴趣，想学习智能视觉工程。
希望我们都能找到适合自己的专业。
This is a fun conversation. And look at all the new majors to sign up for. I would totally sign up for some major has something to do with artificial intelligence, super high-tech element. I mean, I love my job and everything, but these sound so fun.
Yes, I feel like every year there's a new major which is more technical, and I'm like, why wasn't it here when I had to choose what I wanted to do?
Yeah, it's just so many new possibilities, and you just want to be young all the time, but that is not happening. And let's take a look at the conversation. I mean, of course, learning something in college is important, but learning is a lifelong thing, and we're learning a new language all the time, and that is something worth doing. So for the first sentence, 高考终于结束了，你打算在大学选择哪个专业呢？
The college entrance exam is finally over. What do you plan to study at university?
Perfect. So 高考
Gāokǎo college entrance exam.
Yes, 终于
finally.
Finally, 终于. I know finally carries a little bit of connotation that you wish this thing could have happened even sooner. And it's the same thing here in China, in Chinese. So 高考终于结束了 for a lot of kids preparing for the college entrance examination is arduous. And they would like to say, so much relief. It's finally over. Then let's move on to the fun thing. Pick a major. So that's the idea. And 结束.
Jīshù, to be over, to be finished.
Yes. And 结束了 suggesting, yes, it's over, it's finished. 你
You.
打算
Dǎsuàn, you plan to.
在
At.
大学
Dàxué, university.
University. And actually, university is big school. So literally, 大 means big and great and major. And 学 means school, 学校, school. So the big schools are the universities. Easier to remember.
That's true, 大学.
选择
to choose.
To choose 哪个
哪个 which.
Which 专业
Zhōngguó, major.
Major. Actually, 专业 also carries the meaning of professional. So if you want to say, 他没有问题，他很专业, there's no problem if you have him as your lawyer, doctor, whatever, because he's very professional. 他很专业, he's very professional. So if someone is very professional, they must have experienced or have accepted professional training. Hence, the professional training in college would be the major. So 专业. That's the correlation, by the way.
专业.
今年有好多新专业可以填报呢，我觉得中国古典学比较有意思。
There are so many new majors to choose from this year. I think Chinese classical studies is quite interesting.
Could be quite interesting. Yes, so 今年
this year.
This year 有
There are
好多
many
新专业
new majors.
可以
You can.
填报
to fill a form to choose.
Yes. And here, actually, it's passive if you really think about it, because it's like these majors can be chosen from, or you can choose these majors to fill in the blanks, but that is not quite stressed in the Chinese language when it's passive and active. It's the same thing in some other scenarios. For example, you can actually use the character 被 to suggest it's a passive tense, but it's not always necessary in the Chinese language. One very prominent example is 晒太阳.
晒太阳.
Yes, 晒 is the verb here, and 太阳 is the sun. So if you talk about 晒太阳, basically you mean go under the sunlight and enjoy a little bit sunlight. But if you think about it, it's the sun that's shining on you, not you on the sun. So it's definitely passive. But again, you do not have to specify that. People understand you're not shining the sun. So it's kind of like a thing in the Chinese context or Chinese language. That is, if it's very obvious, then sometimes, or in certain occasions, some set situations, you don't really have to stress the passive tone. So yeah, just remember these occasions. And here, 有好多新专业可以填报 is one of the scenarios. And 我觉得
I think that.
中国
Chinese.
古典学
Classical studies.
Actually, 古典 carries the meaning of classic or classical. We have 古典音乐 classical music. We have 古典文学 classical literature. And 古典学 put together is the kind of major that allows you to understand the world with a Chinese perspective. It's not only about language, it's not only about philosophy, it's not only about literature. It's about a little bit of everything. So using the traditional Chinese philosophical thinking, the way of analyzing the world to understand a lot of different aspects. So for 古典学, definitely linguistic-wise, there are classes designed, and students in this major would also have to learn about traditional Chinese calendar setting, about a little bit of traditional Chinese medicine philosophy, only the philosophy, not the real practice of TCM, but a little bit of everything. So kind of like understand the world in a traditional Chinese perspective.
I would love to do this major. And can I ask you, do regular Chinese students learn classical Chinese?
Actually, yes. In our primary school, middle school, high school, we all have traditional Chinese articles and traditional Chinese poem lessons. But it's to the extent that all the very famous pieces, all the best of the best, are in the textbooks so that students have a general idea about it. But it's not to say that every Chinese has the ability to understand every single piece of article in Chinese classics. There's still a different level, but general understanding is a must.
Okay, we have quite the same thing with Latin. Many people, it's not mandatory, but we have so many words and grammar structures that come from Latin. So it's very interesting to analyze, and also it helps you to speak better if you know Latin. So I would say maybe classical Chinese allows you to understand how nowadays we speak.
It's the same with the Chinese language as well. Actually, even for pieces with a history of over 2,000 years, you can still find the characters with a similar connotation, similar meaning, and some of the sayings are very much widely used in today's world, in today's Chinese society. Of course, a lot of idioms, a lot of verses from poems, and a lot of sentiment are the same. So understanding the ancient classical Chinese is very helpful for you to understand current or modern Chinese.
This is the beauty of classical studies.
Yes. And then we have 比较.
比较, it's quite?
It's quite. Actually, the word 比较 can be a verb with meanings of to compare, but it can also be an adverb meaning quite, rather relatively or comparatively. So, for example, I can say 这个问题比较简单.
This question is quite easy.
It's quite easy. I can also say 我觉得这个价格比较贵.
I think that this price is quite rather expensive.
So how do you say, my place is relatively close to downtown?
我家离 中性比较近
比较近 Yes, that's how you do it. And here, 古典学比较有意思
有意思 It's quite interesting.
It's quite interesting. We know in English, when you say, this is interesting, it's possible that this person is trying to say this is not interesting, it's boring, so it's interesting. But in Chinese, if you say, 这个真有意思, it's really interesting, you actually mean it's interesting, it's fun.
Okay, it's not just, it looks fine, but I'm not convinced.
No, unless it's really obvious in the tone, but generally it means it's really fun. 有意思. And then, 那真不错。我对自动驾驶技术很感兴趣，想学习智能视觉工程。
That's great. I am really interested in autonomous driving technology and want to study intelligent vision engineering.
So fun. Okay, 那真不错。
That's so great. That sounds great.
So that 真不错 really nice, really not bad at all, something like that. 我
I
对
regarding
yes, to this thing I have a certain feeling about this object. I have something I'd like to say. So that's the function of the word 对 in this scenario. It's kind of like to or towards or about or, like you said, regarding. For example, I can say 他对这件事很满意.
Oh, he, regarding this matter, is very satisfied.
You can also say 我对他的看法很好.
My opinion about him is quite good.
Yes. So how about we are all interested in this question?
我们对这个问题都很感兴趣.
Yes, that's how you say that. So to this matter, we are interested. That's basically the direct translation. And 对 is very, very useful. And here, 自动驾驶技术, 自动.
自动 automatic.
And the opposite word would be 手动 manually controlled. And 自 is 自己 self. 动 is move. So if this thing moves on itself, it must be automatic. Whereas 手 is hand. 动 is move. If you need to move it with your hand, it's manually.
So it's also used for cars, either it's automatic or manual.
Yes.
Say 自动. Oh, okay.
驾驶
drive.
Both 驾 and 驶 carries the meaning of driving. And 技术 technology 很
very
感兴趣 interested, because actually we know 兴趣 is hobby or interesting or have a hobby about or have feelings about something, you find it interesting. And 感兴趣 is 感到有兴趣. So when I see this matter, when I see this subject, I have this feeling of wanting to know more, then you're interested about it. So that's 感兴趣. 想
I want to.
学习
to study.
智能
intelligent.
智慧 that's wisdom. And 能 capability or ability. Having the ability to think wisely would be intelligent. So 智能 intelligent. 视觉 vision. 视 is to look at, to see. 觉 is 感觉 the feeling that allows you to see things. That's vision. 工程 engineering. Actually, a lot of majors in universities end with the word engineering. So different types of engineering. So 工程 is how we translate it into Chinese. And then 希望我们都能找到适合自己的专业.
I hope that we both find majors that suit us.
希望
I hope that
我们
we
都能
both can
找到
to find
适合
to suit
自己
us
专业
major.
Perfect. So that's the conversation. You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Hongli, and Georgia Massette. Coming up next, let's learn about some new majors out there that students can choose from. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Georgia. Actually, recently, China's Ministry of Education issued the directory of undergraduate majors for the forthcoming year. Among them, 24 new undergraduate majors have been added, reflecting the country's development needs and focus on capturing new opportunities in emerging industries. This is very interesting news because this is around the time that the Chinese Gāokǎo or college entrance examination would happen, and students after 高考结束 finishing the exam, it's time for them to start looking into all these hundreds of different majors in different universities and trying to find out what their hearts actually desire, and they would be able to start their new chapter in their new life. And it's all very exciting, and it's so nice to see all these new majors that you can actually have a little bit fun with. So among all these different majors, is there one that you particularly interested in?
Actually, if I could go back in time, it would be completely different from what I'm studying, but I would go to the Yunnan Agricultural University, and I think that it has established the country's first major in coffee science and engineering.
You love coffee science and engineering, huh?
Yes, I think this, if someone is really specialized either in agriculture and having the possibility to specialize even more in something so specific and offering such a quality in the coffee and such a knowledge and a know-how. And I think that creating university that follows this specialization, it's something that is becoming more and more important. And I think it's great compared to the past where there were big majors and not very many specific studies one could choose upon.
Yes, for this new major, actually, it's not only about the coffee industry. It's actually, I should put it this way, it's about the entire coffee industry. You learn from the very upstream of selecting the kind of beans you want from certain origin places to how to create new flavors of coffee, adding some fruity flavor, nutty flavor, trying to attract customers with different ways and different techniques. And then comes on to branding, how to give your coffee a good story they want to share, how to find the best business model for the coffee shop that you might be working with. And of course, all these belong to the coffee major or the coffee engineering major. So it is definitely the kind of major that requires you to learn a little bit of everything about coffee and can be quite helpful if you actually in the future would work in this industry. And that reflects the trend of this new major. That is, we want the majors to be, for this specific example, as practical as possible, making sure that someone who graduates from this college, from this major, can take the knowledge they learned in university to actual use. And there are other majors reflecting the development of the country's technology, of the growing need of high-techy talents in the society, being the 视觉工程, 智能视觉工程 we talked about in the conversation, that is the intelligent vision engineering. Firstly, I thought this has something to do with creating graphs or artificial intelligence photography or understanding the pictures with the help of AI, but it's more than that. And also it has something to do with automatic driving technology. It has something to do with recognizing images with the help of technology, so that, for example, medical diagnosis can use this students from this major as well. So that is what I'd like to call 新质生产力, new quality productivity forces. Something that has been, something that is definitely one of the key words of the year.
Absolutely. And the world, I feel like the world is changing so fast, and especially technology, and having majors and also university that can offer classes and a whole major on these new topics. It's very important to have young professionals who are very trained, and the world is evolving, so we need new majors to choose upon.
Yes, and there are also majors like ecological protection, restoration, soccer, equestrian, sports and management, sports health and wellness. All these new majors reflect the growing need of talents in this regard. And for students out there, in order to find the exact major that you would love to go in, you definitely would have to do a little bit homework. And one thing that's quite interesting and quite, again, making me jealous is the fact that now there are a lot of AI tools out there helping students to find out the kind of major that they might get interested in. You can select the kind of traits that you want to get into. For example, do you like science? Do you like artificial intelligence? Do you like medicine? Do you like environmental protection? You first select the area that you're interested in, and then once you locate the possible candidate majors, these tools would also tell you exactly what subjects would be taught during your 4-year or 5-year period in college. And sometimes they would even provide information such as what are some major industries, some major companies that you might get enrolled after graduate. So a lot more info are just out there on one click, and you just have to do your homework, find what you really want, and go for it. Your new life is right there waiting for you.
Absolutely. And I'm so jealous as well. And I'm happy that people facing university are being helped and have a lot of help in order to choose from, because I remember feeling very lost because the choice was too big, too large, and there were so many universities to choose upon. And as long as the interest is there and there's a passion, I think everything will be fine at the end.
Yes, and wish all the students taking the Gāokǎo college entrance examinations this year having a good score and being able to find the major in their dream school and starting this new chapter in their life. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Nian Honglin here with Georgia. 感谢收听，我们下次再见。
Goodbye everyone, see you soon, 再见。